Well, hey, I'm super excited to be doing this Zoom. This is a subject that is integral to growing this business. And whether you've been in for 6 years, whether you've been in for 6 days, if you learn to master the skill that we're going to talk about here, Christina Martinez-Williams and Lori Hart are going to do the training tonight. If you learn to master this, it's something that will amplify and speed up your business. And here's what's interesting. As I've done this over the last 7.5 years, I've brought in tons and tons and tons of new promoters, and I have a couple groups. One is the group of people that are busy working, sharing, talking to people, and I never hear from them, right? I never hear from them. I don't know what's going on. And occasionally they'll message, say, hey, do you know the answer to this? And I'll answer it. But then the other group is the ones that are like, Nick, I've got somebody on the phone right now. Can you talk to them? Nick, I just talked to so-and-so and they're interested. Can I put you in a chat? And I'm like, I'm dialed into almost every conversation they're having. And here's what usually goes through each of these people's heads. This person A, is saying, oh, Nick doesn't have enough time. He's super busy. He works with a lot of people. I don't want to reach out to them. I don't want to bug them. And then this person listened when I talked to them for the first time, or has been on a Zoom like this before, that they've heard me say, ye who blows up my phone the most wins. That says, hey, if you have somebody that you're talking to, might as well have somebody else talk to them too. And this person ends up having a much higher ratio of people that get started. Not everybody, and it's for sure not 100%. However, if this person talks to 10 and this person talks to 10, the one over here is maybe enrolling, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 more per 10 than this one. And it's not because they're saying anything different. It's not because of anything except for this step that we're going to talk about. One other quick story before I pass it over to Christina. When I was new in this business for the first year, I did not know how to explain ketosis, and I would fumble with my words. In fact, I would get my friend Mitch on the phone and my friend Mark, and there was this other guy named Mark Absalon. Mark Absalon had been in ketosis for years. He'd actually been part of another company that used the product to get you into ketosis. It wasn't ketones. It was a starvation diet. However, he understood the mechanism. He understood how the body worked. He understood what we have our hands on. And I would use him over and over and over again. How I would say, hey, I got to get you on the phone with my friend Mark, or hey, my friend Mark is going to be talking to myself and a couple other people. Can I get you on the phone? Or I would be in mid-sentence with somebody in the cockpit and I'd say, hey, one sec, let me get my friend Mark on the phone. He's going to answer your questions. He can do so a lot better than I can. And then boom, I'd say, here, talk to my friend Mark. And here's what happened. Over a course of a year, and I'm talking 12 months, and you're talking to me, the keto dad, right, who pretty much can explain ketones now. For 12 months, all I did was shut my mouth, connect, and listen. And you know what? I had really amazing results as far as new customers, new promoters in the first year of this business. So I'm excited for this training, and Christina and Lori are going to talk to us tonight about the connect step, because our system is ACE, attract, connect, experience, and enroll. And specifically tonight, we're talking about the C, and which is good because Christina's name starts with a C. Go for it, Christina. What's up? How's it going?
Hi, I see that my name is start with a C, but it says VRI right now. Okay, so I'm not VRI. I'm Christina Martinez-Williams. I live in Fort Washington, Maryland. Normally, right now I'm in Williamsburg, Virginia. I've been drinking ketones for 6.5 years and sharing them for 5. And it was terrible at the connect step for a really long time, really terrible. I would not connect Nick with anyone, barely anyone. I think probably most people I did not connect him with in the beginning, until he had to kind of force me. And it was a little fun force, but it was a challenge that he gave me. And I finally did connect, and then started to see the value of it, and started to see more and more people come on board because I'd done what that step was. So we're going to really focus on the C. C can mean a bunch of things. We can connect people to the campfire video. We can connect people to the guest call that is tomorrow night. We can connect people to the Keto Claire, the Prove It TV videos. We can connect them to Inspire On videos. There's lots of ways to connect, and we do connect multiple times. That's often the best way to follow up, is through a piece of connection. But the piece of connection that we really want to focus on tonight, and that Lori is going to run us through, is is the connecting in a three-way chat or in a conversation with another person, because this is the one that validates the conversation, and that there's still multiple reasons to do it or ways to do it, but it is one of the most valuable because it's connecting to another one-on-one or one-on-two to another human being that has more experience maybe, or has a different experience than your own. And that adds a lot of value to what they're learning. So I'm going to pass it to Lori, and then I'm just going to jump in here and there as with one little analogy that I'll throw in a little bit later. And I'm going to drop in some great scripts that Lori has put together. I'm going to be putting them in the chat as she shares them. So Lori, excited to hear what you have to share.
Hey guys, Lori Hart here from Boston, Mass. And behind me is my new grandbaby's little bassinet pack and play. If you didn't know, I became a nana a week ago. So I'm super excited, and I'm sharing it here first live to let you all know that. But I've been sharing and drinking ketones for 2 years. I absolutely love them, and I love this business. And this step to me is just super passionate. I'm super passionate about this step. And Nick said a lot of things in the beginning that really, and Christina, that are really super important to remember. One is, he said that the first year he shared ketones, he didn't know how to explain them. So he wouldn't tell anybody what they were. He would just connect to his friend, right? And so that is what's the most important part, because people sometimes say what Nick said, they're afraid to blow up our phones if we're working with you because you think that we're busy or that we don't have time, when in fact, we're creating a system of what we call duplication. So we want it to be very duplicatable. We want your friends to know that you have support and that we have a system, and that you don't need to know every single thing to join our team as a promoter, right? You don't need to know the science, and you don't need to know where ketones are made and how much they cost and like all the things. So the connect part, like Christina says, is we want to educate people, and that's really the goal. But the third party validation is where they get to hear somebody else's story, right? They get to connect with somebody that may have a similar story to them. They get to see that there are other people involved, maybe besides just you, because they might have known you for 20 years and they're like, why would you get involved in something like this? I don't want to talk to you anymore about it. So for them to meet somebody else that you know now, that is maybe what they consider an expert, or, knows a little bit more. They know that you've been, working at the school or working at a veterinarian's office. So how the heck do you know all of a sudden all about these ketones? And so the connect step, I find that lately is people are nervous to ask if it's okay to connect. So I wanted to talk about that, because I think that that's the biggest hurdle that we need to get over, is not asking, telling. Like, we're the tour guide and everybody is different. But instead of saying to your friend, hey, Christina, would it be okay if you talk to Liz? Because immediately your answer would be, no, that's okay. I don't need to talk to Liz. I'm all set. Thank you anyway. Right. But if we say, you know what, I'm going to connect you to Liz. She's amazing. You're going to love her. She knows so much about ketones and she's helping me out. So Christina's going to drop a script in the chat, and I have many more, but this is just something I wrote up tonight just to help you transition a little bit. Because I'm finding, as I'm talking to new promoters, that's kind of the hang up of, well, I really didn't know what to say. And then she said, no, she doesn't want to talk to you. So I want you to remember that you're the one that's in charge. You're the one that's sharing them, sharing the ketones and showing them around. So you're the one that's going to say, you know what, this is the next step. I'm going to set you up, right, with my friend Christina. She's amazing. You're going to love her. And that's it. I don't even wait for the answer. I go straight to Messenger and I start the chat, because I already know why you want to drink them. So I can tell Christina that. And the chat's there. So your friend may or may not talk in it, but they could go in and listen to what Christina is going to say, right? So they're going to get that piece of education anyway. And then they're probably most likely maybe not going to say anything in that chat, but they're going to probably come back to you and say, okay, and maybe ask you another question, right? And as soon as they warm up a little bit more to Christina, they might start talking to her, which is amazing. And so like Nick said, it might not be an immediate sale, but it's just a way to start that education process, because ketones, right, in anything we're selling can take 12 to 15 times of educating somebody on the process, right? So the other thing I wanted to talk about quickly before I read a couple of scripts is when we get the chat started, how exactly to do that, because I'm finding if people are new, they're having a hard time figuring out how to put the chat together. And I'm getting some subtitles and weird things at the top, like who it is and where they met them. And it's just like, that's the heading of it. So I wanted to show you exactly how to start the chat and then how to introduce. So when we introduce people, we want to make sure like you're just in the living room. Aisha and I are hanging out. We're in the living room. You're introducing us. Hey, Lori, this is Aisha. She's amazing. She's a real estate agent. She lives in, Minot, North Dakota. And hey, Aisha, this is my friend Lori. She's amazing. She lives in Boston. And she's been, so we want to make sure that it's not, hey, Lori, this is Kim. And it's just kind of, it's weird. So we want to just be human. We're introducing a couple of friends, right? And making everybody feel comfortable and comforted in the chat. So it's not this high pressure sales feeling. This is my friend. I've known her. She's helping me. And so that people feel a little bit more at ease and they feel a little bit more comfortable saying, because this can be a big deal to people. They want to lose fat. They're not feeling good. Their mood might be low. Like they're going to tell you some things that are pretty private, right? So we want to make them feel really, really comfortable as they're going through this process of getting to know us a little bit better, getting to know Provers a little bit better, understanding our community and that we really care about each other. So those are the important parts of Connect for me. So I just wanted to read to you how I would frame a chat, right, in Messenger. And all of these have just XXX and a couple of blank spaces. You're just going to basically take these templates and put them in your notepad. That way you don't have to recreate this wheel every single time you want to start a chat, right? So, hey, Liz, this is my friend Christina. She is awesome. A mom of 6 and a teacher. Whoa. Liz wants more energy and to sleep better. She saw our campfire video and had a few questions about sleep, mood, energy, right? So that's all typed out for you. You just have to fill in the blanks. And then you're going to introduce Liz to me. Hey, Liz, this is Lori, my awesome friend I was telling you about. She's been drinking and sharing ketones for a while now. I think you two will love him and her. So you're just going to fill in the blanks. And then I'm excited to connect you both. I love connecting amazing people, if anything else, right? So we're taking that pressure. I just love connecting amazing people, if anything else, right? May or may not be for you. Awesome. All that's great. So when that chat started, really, that's the connect piece. So we always want to make sure they've watched the campfire video. They're a little bit educated, right? And you know why they want to drink ketones. You already know why. So you're telling that person why. So whoever you're working with. So if this is making good sense to you and you're feeling comfortable with it, drop a 1 in the chat. Awesome. Anne says yes. So was this something that was a little bit difficult for you? Like you just didn't really know how to transition? Or have you guys been able to do this freely and easily? If so, drop a 2 in the chat if you've been able to do this freely and easily. I just want to see. It seems to be making sense for a bunch of people, but have you been able to do this easily? Sometimes, I'm going to call that a sometimes. Liz has helped me. Awesome. Awesome. No. Okay, cool. So Lori and everybody on the chat. So it's making a little bit more sense where we're just going to basically say, listen, I'm going to set you up in a chat with my friend. She's amazing. You're going to love her and you're going to walk away. You're not even going to look because you're going to be afraid to see what they say. So you're just going to walk away and go set that chat right on up. You're going to use that tool that I just gave you and you're going to fill in the blanks. And then bam, you're going to hit up Christina and say, hey, I just set up 3 chats in Messenger for you. I am so excited. And that's it, right? So all this work is done here for you. It's just going to be your job to connect to the person. And then as time goes on, the cool part is as they start drinking ketones and maybe different challenges arise, right? We've already got this relationship built, so you can let us do the talking, right? Or they're ready to buy now and they're going to ask you that question. How much do they cost? Right. And so our shoulders are just a little bit stronger and firmer, and we're not afraid of that cost objection. So it's easy for us to say, are you ready to get started? Here's what the cost is. Where you're sometimes as a new person going, and so it's just easier to use the shoulders of the people you're working with. Plus you're learning language as you go. So as time goes on, you're learning language to help your new promoters speak to their people. And so as time goes on as well, you're able to say to your person, when you ask them, are you ready to join us in business? And they say, well, I couldn't learn all that. You'll say, well, I connected you to a video and a person. That's really all I did. You could do that, right? Yes, yes, yes. Super simple. This is super simple stuff. Sometimes I say a kindergartner or first grader could do the work. It's just that we get in our head and we overthink the steps. And ACE is the simplest system in the world if we follow it to a T. And when we do that, we create what we call duplication. And that just means that everybody on your team is doing the same thing. And then it's a lot easier to grow. So hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully those scripts are, if they don't sound like you, tweak them a tiny bit, but don't go change them too much. We always want to keep things short, sweet, and simple, and just continue to educate. And that is how the process works. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please come off mute, drop them in the chat, and I can help you with that.
I have a couple of questions, Lori.
Yes.
How do we connect people who don't have questions? So the script that you gave us was if they have a specific question, which is
okay.
Awesome.
Yes. Okay. So that's a great question because I wrote that up after when I was going, are you ready to move forward? So what I just said is how I would connect them if they don't have questions. I would just say, so you're going to say to somebody, do you have any questions? I usually say, are you ready to move forward? Right? Because that's what I want to know. Do you want to buy the ketones? Yes or no was really the question. So are you ready to move forward? Right? Because sometimes you get a direct answer with that versus do you have any questions? So when they say yes, awesome, let's get you started. Do you want me to set up a cart or do you want to just, and then they've got to go, whoa, how much does it cost? Then you can say, you know what? I'm going to connect you in a chat with my friend. So that's kind of the transition. I always say, are you ready to move forward? It just to me is an easier way than do you have questions? Because they can just say, no, I'm all set. Right. But are you ready to move forward is more of a direct, are you ready to buy ketones?
Awesome. One way that I also connect when there's not a question that's asked to me is if they've told me what they're looking for, and let's say they're looking for better sleep, and I know I haven't personally experienced necessarily better sleep, or even if I have, it doesn't matter, then I connect them to someone else who has experienced a lot of better sleep and use that as a reason to connect. So I'll tell them, I'm going to connect you to my friend Lori because she has slept beautifully since drinking ketones, and I really want you to hear her story. So even if it's not necessarily to it could be to the same person that you're connecting them always to, or it could be to anyone here who has a story that you know that they would connect to that's maybe not your own, or maybe is in addition to your own that adds validation and value. And that connect is another aspect of connect that's really valuable, regardless if that person is the person that is going to tell them prices. It could be the same person. And it very likely is. It could just be, hey, when you tell them what their benefits are that they're looking for. Lori, and another question, how do you connect? So I'm guessing that a lot of us in this room, in this Zoom room, have been in lots of conversations or several conversations already with people and have maybe touched them 2 or 3 times already. Do you have any suggestions of how we connect people who we've already started conversations with and who we've already perhaps answered questions from? What do you suggest as language to use to go ahead and use this connect step?
Are you ready to move forward? I mean, I keep saying the simplicity of it. Like we've asked them, we've connected them to a person, we've connected them to a tool. If we've connected them now to like a call, we could keep asking them, right? So we could keep inviting them to calls. We could keep inviting them to events, I guess, or things. But really the question is, are you ready to move forward? We want to know, are they ready? Do they want more education? Or we could even say that, are you ready to move forward, or would you like more education? Are you ready to move forward? Or if not, no, I use this phrase a lot, no worries. If not, no worries. I don't want them to feel like they're pressured at all. So I would just let them know that. But for the most part, are you ready to move forward is really what I would ask them. And in what way? Would you like more education? Would you like to talk to more people? Would you like to, hear a couple of calls? It can be just, I feel like the education piece is what we're doing, right? Because in 2 years that I've been doing this, I've been educating people. Sometimes it takes 5 months. Sometimes it takes 12 months. Sometimes it takes 1 week. So we never know when somebody's time frame is when they're ready. So I just check in, circle back. I always say that too. Hey, just circling back in. Are you getting, and I might even bring up one of the points that they told me, are you getting that better sleep you were looking for? So I love to know why they want to drink ketones. I love to keep a list of that, right, on my paper, on my tracker. I want to know, what is their pain point of ketones? Why do they want to lose fat? Hey, curious, have you been able to reach your New Year's goals? So we can still ask questions, right? But it just depends on what stage of the conversation we're in with them. I think most of it is an individual basis, but for the most part, it's simple and it's the same, and it's, yeah. I think sometimes we make so much of it, but it's really simple. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to use the word bugged. If you ask me to buy something or you're talking to me about something and I'm interested, I get super busy. I forget all the time. I want you to keep following up with me. To me, that's a reminder and I need it. So I feel like I'm doing a service, and eventually, if it's been 35 times, I might say, you know what? I completely don't want to be a bother to you. So if this is something you're not interested anymore, please just let me know and I won't follow up. I'll take you right off my list, and it's no problem. And then they usually say, no, I want to know, can you please tell me when there's a sale? Or because they're either just busy, or they haven't hit that rock bottom, or they haven't hit that piece yet of they're ready to move forward. They just need a little bit more. And we all know that here. Because we were all those people at one point, right? So look back to when you were asked to try ketones. Look back to how the process went for you. And that's pretty much how it goes for everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Lori. And I see, Michael, your question about, it's a good question. Should we use more open-ended questions instead of a yes or no question?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on so open-ended, I like to get an answer. So that's why I like that. Are you ready to move forward? Because that's an answer. But I would have already had dialogue with them. They've already talked to a person. They've already watched a video. So I know that we've already brought them through the right steps. They were already interested because they said why. But dialoguing is fine. You just have to eventually close the sale though. So we want to make sure we're asking that question. Are you ready to try them? Are you ready to give them a try? Would you like to do a trial pack? So open-ended questions are great because we get answers, but I think we can gather a lot of our information in the beginning. We're gathering a lot of clues and information in the beginning of why they want to drink ketones.
Awesome. And I also saw Terry's question about, do we always connect them to our team leader or Nick, or can we connect them to people like you and I?
Yeah. So like Christina said, she knows somebody that slept great. If you know somebody in the community, that's why when you're out at events, it's so amazing to meet people. I met Todd out. I've met Aisha out. I've met Liz out. Like, I know their story. I know why they drink ketones. So if I know Todd's an amazing chef and he's lost tons of fat and he's a guy, I'm going to connect my guy friend to Todd, right? Because we all work together and it's amazing. And that's what I love about Prove It. And I love about our community. It's amazing to have a close, bond with the person you're working with, but feel free to use anybody. I think we're all open to that here.
Awesome. One thought I was having too, Michael, in response to your question is, I think I use open-ended questions more in the beginning, like Lori said, to collect information or just to understand who they are, what they're looking for, and to not pigeonhole them into what I think they're looking for. And then to use closed questions of yes or no responses to help get responses to understand where they want to go. If they want to be a customer or promoter, if they want to move forward, if they want to start with option 1, 2, or 3. And then that helps, it kind of forces them to continue in conversation with you. And then whenever there's room to open dialogue, again, the open-ended questions.
Mm-hmm. And what Christina just said is super important as well. Option 1, 2, or 3, before people are ready to buy, we always say, hey, are you wanting to join us as a customer who may earn some free product, or become a promoter like me, right? So there's 3 options too at the end. And we're just letting them know that right up front so that they go, oh, wow, I didn't even know that, right? So now there's more dialogue, which is amazing.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I think, Lori, are we at a closing point on your end? What I want
Absolutely.
everyone to think about, I didn't pause. I'm sorry. Did you?
Oh,
I didn't pause for me.
yes.
Okay.
We can be at a closing point, and if you feel free to ask any questions you have after the Zoom. I mean, I'm always available. Christina's available. We're available. So just, yes, this is a great closing point. Love it.
Awesome. I want to leave everyone with something to do as you get off of this Zoom. So I want you to go, if you don't have a Rhino tracker yet, that's just a piece of paper that has a grid on it where you're writing names of, and it doesn't have to be that actual piece of paper, but it somewhere where you're keeping track of who you're talking to. I want you to look back at who you've talked to in the last week or 2 weeks or even month and see who you can connect to the person that is directly enrolled you or to someone whose story you know. And it could be just as simple as like, you can look around on this screen or think of who's in our community who has experienced ketones in a way that your person that you're talking to is looking for, and then make a connection. Hey, I just remembered that I have this friend in our community who has experienced this, and make that connection, because from experience, I learned that the more that I did it, like 100 times, was what it took to get comfortable. And I'm still not overly comfortable. So we have to just continue practicing this connect step to become, especially if you're someone who's not as comfortable with it. Lori is super comfortable with it. So she's doesn't have to practice that muscle so much, but I'm someone who took a lot of muscle practicing to, like, I had to work that muscle a lot to grow that muscle. So when you get off of here, I want you to find 3 people that you can put in a chat or in a, or maybe it's that you're going to put us in a Zoom, or if you're going to put us into a, wherever you're connected with that person, put us in a chat with them. I think I was always worried too that person wasn't going to be able to get back to them right away, or that I was going to leave them hanging, or the other person. And so sometimes I also just like to say, hey, I know that so-and-so will get back to you really soon. And they're going to drop in here and answer as soon as they're able to. That's it.
Yes.
Cool.
Thanks, Nick.
2 closing thoughts. Thanks, guys. That was awesome. Give them some love in the chat. This is a skill, and it's a muscle, like Christina was saying. So I want you to get used to this phrase. Number 1 is you got to go talk to people in order to use this. So if you're not talking to anybody yet, like, what are you waiting for? You got tons of people right here on your phone. You just got to reach out to them. There's tons of people outside your door that you haven't talked to yet. You just got to go start having those conversations. So when you're talking to them, the moment a question comes up, the moment you're dialoguing via messenger, text, or verbally, and they say, well, what about this? You say via text or via verbal, 1 sec, I'm going to connect you with my friend so-and-so. They've been drinking ketones longer than I have, and they can help answer your question. 1 second. So you say, 1 sec, I'm going to connect you with, no, notice the confidence in that. I'm going to connect you with my friend Nick. He's amazing. And as long as you say something amazing about me, when you connect me, they're going to believe you. Right? It's just the truth. 1 sec, I'm going to connect with my girlfriend, Lori. She's awesome. She's been drinking this for the last couple of years, helps a lot of people with ketones. 1 second. And that's when you open up the chat. That's when you make the connection. And like Christina just said, in that chat, you can always add, she may or may not get to this right away. I know she's super busy, but she'll respond when she has a few minutes. And then that makes it so it doesn't have to happen instantly. The beauty of Messenger and text is that it's not immediate. It doesn't have to be immediate. It can be whenever it's available. So that's the key. It's 1 sec, I'm going to. It's not the question, hey, would it be all right if maybe I connected you with my friend Nick? He's kind of weird. He's this guy on Facebook that I've never actually met in person. And I think it'd be very good if I can, like, they're not going to, that's weird. When I was flying airplanes and I'm sitting next to a captain, I'm a first officer, and they're asking me questions. The moment that they said, well, what about this? I'm like, you know what? When we land, I'm going to dial my buddy, Mark. He's amazing. He can answer this question. And he didn't flinch. He's like, oh, okay. We would land. Literally, I would dial my friend. I'd say, what's up, Mark? This is my buddy, Captain Floyd. He was just asking me about this, this, and this. I got to do the walk around. Floyd, this is my buddy, Mark, I mentioned to you. He's amazing. He can help answer your questions. 1 sec. I would hand the phone. I would walk out of the cockpit. I came back. Floyd to this day drinks ketones. Okay. Why? Because I didn't play the expert. Why? Because I connected him and I was confident in the fact that that's what I was going to do. So all of you that haven't used this, or maybe you're holding off on using it, it's usually the wishy-washiness in your language that causes people to be not maybe interested in it. But if you tell them what you're going to do and you're excited and confident in it, they're going to be excited and confident to talk to Lori or to talk to Christina. So thanks for being on, guys. Oh, Christina's got one last thing.
One last thing. I think one other thing that has kept me and other people back in the past from connecting is the weirdness, but sometimes I think there's some of us who want to be the expert ourselves or to know the information first. And that holds us back from sharing, from connecting. So learn, like Lori said, learn while you connect versus learning and then connect and then passing on the information. Sometimes I think that's hard to learn for those of us who like to know. But we don't have to know. We can learn and know at the same time.
Very true. Your job, I learned for a year. Like I said in the beginning, I literally didn't answer questions for a year. I was the connector to people that knew the answers. And all I did during that time was I listened. Aisha got me in a connect call today. She called me and I said, "What's up?" Aisha says, "Hey, I have somebody on the phone. They're interested in ketones. They've been buying them on eBay and they want to maybe join our community and they're interested in the business." I'm like, "Awesome." She unclicked the three-way. We were talking. She made an introduction. She said, "Nick, this is my friend." She explained who she was. She said, "Hey, this is my friend Nick. She said he lives in Minnesota. He's amazing." She said something like that. I'm not sure what, but it was nice. And then you know what Aisha did? She clicked the mute button, and then me and this amazing lady that just joined today had a conversation for 15 minutes. And then the lady asked at one point, I'm trying to remember her name, Tammy. Hey, I got it right. Tammy said, "Aisha, are you still there?" She thought Aisha had hung up, but no, Aisha was just listening. And you know what? When people connect with Aisha's skilled at this. Why? Because she's heard me say it a million times. Now you guys could learn exactly what I say if you're on enough calls with Aisha, because she's saying the exact same stuff. So thanks for being on, guys. Appreciate all of you. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Christina. And let's have a lot of fun. I know tons of you are registered for Las Vegas. So if you're able to come, excited to see you out there. If not, the next Prove It event is called More, and it is in June. It's the first weekend of June. I think it's like the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Louisville. So put that on your calendar. But this is just the beginning. It's going to be an amazing year, an amazing month. And I'm excited for all the new faces that we see here. So have a great day, guys. We'll talk to you later.